My dear brother, my beloved sister, sometimes Allah makes you lose everything because He knows that what you were holding on to was never going to take you where He needs you to go. He took it because you were worshipping it without knowing. Sometimes Allah doesn't just take things from us, He rescues us from them. You may not have realized it, but what you were holding on to so tightly, that dream, that person, that relationship, that job, was quietly pulling your heart away from your Creator. Not all at once, but slowly, quietly, softly. And you didn't notice it happening. At first you were just happy. You were finally smiling. You thought, this is what I was waiting for. This is what I prayed for. But over time, it started to own you. You started making decisions around it. You changed your sleep for it. You sacrificed your focus for it. You delayed your salah for it. You cried over it more than you cried in front of Allah. And here's the painful truth. The thing you loved most became more present in your heart than Allah Himself. It sat in the center. It shaped your emotions. It dictated your peace. You didn't bow to it with your body, but you bowed to it with your fear of losing it. And Allah in His mercy won't allow your heart to be owned by anything but Him. So He took it away. He didn't ask. He didn't warn you out loud. He just removed it. And you called it loss. You called it heartbreak. You called it unfair. But what if I told you it was mercy? What if I told you that thing you were so afraid of losing was already stealing pieces of your soul without you knowing? You see, my dear one, there's a kind of love that kills your prayer, a kind of comfort that weakens your remembrance, a kind of attention that replaces your connection to the divine. It doesn't matter how beautiful it felt, if it stood between you and Allah. It was a wall, not a gift. And walls get removed, not to hurt you, but to set you free. And sometimes the only way to cleanse your heart is to empty it completely. That's why it hurts so deeply. Because Allah wasn't just removing a distraction. He was doing surgery on your heart. He was taking away the false god, the one you never meant to worship, but started giving your life to. And now you're in the pain. Now you're in the ache. Now you miss what He took. But listen carefully. This pain is a mercy. This ache is sacred, because the one who breaks your heart for Himself will heal it with Himself. When you say, Ya Allah, I lost everything, He gently replies, no, my beloved, you lost what was standing in my place. And that moment, when you realize Allah is still with you, still loving you, still waiting for you, even after you put something else before Him, that moment is the beginning of a love that never fades. So yes, it's hard. Yes, it hurts. Yes, you still think about it. But every tear is a cleansing. Every lonely night is a reunion. Every whispered dua is you coming home. He took it because if He didn't, you would have forgotten Him and lost yourself. That's not abandonment. That's divine protection. And you will look back one day and say with full heart, Ya Allah, thank you for saving me from what I was begging you to keep. The storm wasn't to break you, it was to reveal you. Sometimes it's not shaitan attacking you. Sometimes it's not people betraying you. Sometimes it's Allah personally choosing you for a transformation you never asked for, but desperately needed. You thought you were being broken. You thought your life was falling apart. You thought Allah was angry with you. But what if I told you this storm wasn't sent to destroy you? It was sent to reveal you, because the real you, the one that trusts without answers, the one that prays even with a shattered heart, the one that calls on Allah when no one else is watching, that version of you only rises in storms. You see, You can only discover how strong your iman is when life gives you every reason to give up and you still don't. You can only learn the power of sabr when you're stuck in a test that doesn't end in days or weeks, but months, maybe even years. You can only taste true tawakkul when you've got no plan, no money, no support, and still say, Hasbunallahu wa ni'mal wakeel. The storm strips you. It takes away the masks. It takes away the distractions. It shows you who you really are and who Allah has always been. It's in the storm that your du'as become real, not robotic, not memorized, but raw. Ya Allah, I can't take this anymore, but I trust you. Ya Allah, I don't know why this is happening, but I believe there's a reason. Those words, they're not just statements. They're light in the darkness. They're healing in motion. And they're the reason Allah is drawing you closer through pain, not ease. My dear soul, if everything in your life had gone smoothly, would you have remembered Him like this? Would you have cried to Him with this much sincerity? Would you have fallen into sujood, not out of habit, but because your soul had nowhere else to go? No. Ease doesn't reveal the real you. Hardship does. A cracked heart, a lonely night, a betrayal you didn't see coming, a delay that shattered your plans. That's when you find the version of you that worships not just because things are good, but because Allah is still worthy, even when things are not. And that version of you, that's the one Allah loves. That's the one Allah elevates. That's the one Jannah was built for. The storm was never random. It was calculated, designed, tailored just for you. Not to crush you, but to raise you. So don't say, why me? Say, Ya Allah, what do you want me to become through this? Because you didn't lose yourself in the storm. You met yourself. The stronger you, the wiser you, the one who finally lets go of this dunya and holds on to Allah with both hands. That was always the plan. And the storm was the doorway. So let it come. Let it wash away who you're not. Because what's left after the storm is something even you won't recognize. And that, my beloved, is where your real life begins. What you lost was never really yours to begin with. And I know that's not easy to hear when your chest still aches, when your eyes still search for their name, when your hands still reach for the life that's no longer there. But let me say it again gently this time. What you lost was never written to stay. It visited your life like the rain. It nourished something inside you. It made you feel seen. It gave you a reason to wake up. But it wasn't permanent. It wasn't meant to be. It came with an expiry date, one that only Allah could see. And when the time came, Allah took it back. You see, we don't own anything. Not people, not time, not even our own breath. We are temporary holders of what Allah has entrusted us with. And sometimes the things we love the most were only ever on loan. That person who made you feel alive, they were a guest in your story. That job that made you feel powerful, it was a gift for a season. That version of life you were so proud of was just a page, not the whole book. But when it ended, you thought you failed. You thought Allah was angry. You thought you were being punished. No, my dear one, it's not punishment, it's completion. Because what's yours, what's truly written for you, can never leave. And what leaves was never truly yours. Even if you cried over it, even if it felt like your world, even if you prayed night after night for it to stay, sometimes Allah allows you to love something deeply, not so that it becomes your forever, but so that it teaches you what your soul needed to grow. Sometimes that person came into your life only to awaken the version of you that could stand alone again. And when that awakening happened, their role was over. So Allah closed that door, not because they were bad, but because the lesson was complete. But it hurts, I know, because we as humans love to attach. We hold on to memories. We replay moments. We cry over what could have been. But Allah in His divine mercy reminds us, nothing truly belongs to you except your deeds and your du'as. Everything else is borrowed. And one by one, He will take those borrowed things back so that you can walk lighter, so that you can stop chasing what's temporary and start preparing for what's eternal. So if you lost something or someone and it shattered you, please know this, it was not the end. It was a redirection. It was a sacred return to the truth you forgot. That everything you need is already with Allah. That what He takes, He replaces with something better or Himself. That no loss is ever a loss if it brought you back to your Rabb. So let go. Not because you didn't love it, but because you finally realize it was never yours to keep. And now Allah is preparing to give you something that is, you were attached to a chapter that was already finished. Sometimes you are not hurting because they left. You're hurting because you're still attached to the part of the story that ended long ago. You keep opening the same door even though Allah has locked it. You keep rereading the same chapter even though the ink has dried. It's not that Allah didn't answer you, it's that He already did, but you didn't like the answer, so you stayed behind, trying to rewrite what was already complete. And that's where your pain was born. You see, not every person in your life is meant to stay until the end. Some people are written like sentences, brief, beautiful, necessary, but temporary. They were there to teach you something, to awaken a feeling, to show you a weakness, to help you heal a wound you didn't know was there. But when the lesson was over, you didn't let them go. You tried to make them permanent when Allah only made them passing. That's why it hurt so much. Because you were trying to resurrect a moment that Allah had already buried with love. And it wasn't just people. It was your old plan, the future you dreamed of, the identity you built around them, the what we could have been, the what I thought my life would look like by now. You attached your happiness to a script that Allah has already rewritten. But my dear one, when Allah closes a chapter, He doesn't do it without purpose. Maybe the person was going to distract you from your real calling. Maybe the dream was too small for the soul you're becoming. Maybe the plan you made would have broken you in ways you couldn't recover from. And so, out of mercy, not cruelty, Allah ended it before you could. But the heart, oh, the heart still lingers. You keep saying, if I had just done more, if they had just understood me, if I was enough, maybe they would have stayed. But that's the whisper of regret, not the wisdom of Allah. Because if it was meant for you, it would have stayed, no matter what, no matter who, no matter how hard it got. What left on time, even if you feel it left too soon. And what you're still holding on to is not the person, not the place, not the memory. You're holding on to a version of yourself that no longer exists. That version needed them. That version was built in that chapter. But now, you've outgrown it. You've shed it. You've survived it. So let go. Not because you want to forget, but because you're ready to become who you were always meant to be. Because Allah only closes a chapter when it's time for you to rise into a new one. And trust me, this new chapter, it won't just be beautiful. It will be peaceful. It will be aligned. It will feel like a quiet return home to the version of you that finally knows, if Allah ended it, it was finished in His eyes. And that's all I need to accept it in mine. Allah needed the silence to speak directly to you. You've been asking, why is Allah so silent in my life? Why isn't He answering me like before? Why does it feel like everything has gone quiet?